Am I the only one that didn't know we were supposed to have hoverboards by now? Seriously, where's my hoverboard? I remember watching those 90s movies and TV shows where kids were zipping around on hoverboards like it was the most normal thing in the world. Back then, it seemed like by the time we hit the 2020s, we'd all be commuting to work on these floating marvels. But here we are, and the closest thing we have are those two-wheeled, self-balancing scooters that catch fire if you look at them wrong. Not quite the same, is it? Let's take a trip back to the 90s, a time when we thought the year 2024 would be a tech utopia. The 90s were a wild time for tech predictions. We had this unshakable belief that the future was going to be filled with all sorts of mind-blowing gadgets and gizmos. We imagined a world where everything was automated, and our lives would be so much easier thanks to technology. We were so optimistic, weren't we? We thought that by now we'd be living in a world straight out of a sci-fi movie. Remember those old sci-fi movies predicting flying cars? Oh, the flying cars! How many times did we see those in movies and TV shows? It seemed like every futuristic vision included flying cars. We were so sure that by 2024, the skies would be filled with them. We imagined zipping around in our personal flying vehicles, avoiding traffic jams, and getting to our destinations in no time. But here we are, still stuck on the ground, dealing with the same old traffic issues. Yeah, I'm still stuck in traffic. Every morning, I sit in my car, inching forward in a sea of other cars, and I can't help but think about those flying car dreams. Wouldn't it be amazing to just lift off and soar above the gridlock? But alas, we're still waiting for that particular future to arrive. Maybe one day, but for now, we're stuck with our wheels firmly on the ground. And what about those robot butlers? Ah, the robot butlers. We were so sure that by now we'd all have our own personal robotic assistants to take care of all the mundane tasks. They'd cook our meals, clean our homes, and even provide some witty banter. It was such a tantalizing idea, wasn't it? The thought of having a robot to handle all the chores while we relaxed and enjoyed our leisure time. The only robot I have is my vacuum, and it keeps getting stuck under the couch. Instead of a sophisticated robot butler, we got robotic vacuum cleaners that can't even navigate around furniture. Don't get me wrong, they're handy little devices, but they're not exactly the futuristic helpers we envisioned. They get stuck, they miss spots, and sometimes they just give up and stop working altogether. It's a far cry from the sleek, efficient robots we imagined. So, what did we get right? Despite all the missed predictions, we did get some things right. Technology has advanced in ways we couldn't have imagined back in the 90s. We've made incredible strides in various fields, and some of the tech we have today would have seemed like pure science fiction back then. So, let's take a moment to appreciate the things we did get right. Well, we kinda nailed the whole smartphone thing. Smartphones are a perfect example. Back in the 90s, we had those bulky cell phones with tiny screens and limited functionality. Who could have predicted that we'd end up with these sleek, powerful devices that fit in our pockets? Smartphones have revolutionized the way we communicate, work, and entertain ourselves. They're like mini computers that we carry around with us everywhere we go. But where are the teleportation devices? Teleportation was another big one. We saw it in countless sci-fi movies and TV shows, and we were convinced that by now we'd be able to teleport from one place to another in the blink of an eye. Imagine how convenient that would be. No more long commutes, no more waiting in lines, just instant travel. But unfortunately, teleportation remains firmly in the realm of science fiction. I still have to wait in line at the airport like some kind of medieval peasant. Instead of teleporting, we're still dealing with the hassles of air travel. Long lines, security checks, delays. It's all part of the experience. Every time I find myself waiting in line at the airport, I can't help but think about how much easier things would be if we could just teleport to our destinations. But for now, we're stuck with the traditional methods of travel. Let's not even talk about the fashion predictions. Fashion predictions from the 90s were something else. We had some wild ideas about what people would be wearing in the future. From metallic jumpsuits to neon everything, the fashion of the future was supposed to be bold and outlandish. But looking back, it's clear that some of those predictions were way off the mark. Metallic jumpsuits and neon everything? Really? Can you imagine walking down the street in a metallic jumpsuit? Or dressing head to toe in neon colors? It might have seemed cool in the 90s, but today it would definitely turn some heads, and not necessarily in a good way. Fashion has evolved in its own way, and while we do see some bold trends, they're not quite what we imagined back then. If you wore that to the grocery store today, you'd probably end up on someone's Instagram story. #Throwback Thursday. Fashion has a way of coming full circle, but some of those 90s predictions are best left in the past. If you showed up at the grocery store in a metallic jumpsuit, you'd definitely get some strange looks, and probably end up on social media as a throwback to the 90s. But hey, we did get some cool stuff. Despite the missed predictions, we've got some pretty amazing technology today. Streaming movies and ordering food with a tap on our phones are just a couple of examples. These conveniences have become such a normal part of our lives that it's easy to forget how futuristic they would have seemed back in the 90s. Like streaming movies and ordering food with a tap on our phones. Remember when we had to go to the video store to rent a movie or call a restaurant to place a food order? Now we can do all of that with just a few taps on our phones. It's incredible how much technology has changed the way we live our lives. We have access to a world of entertainment and convenience right at our fingertips. So maybe the future isn't as flashy as we hoped, but it's still pretty awesome. While we might not have flying cars or robot butlers, the future we live in today is still pretty amazing. We've made incredible advancements in technology, medicine, and communication. Our lives are more connected and convenient than ever before. So even though some of our wildest predictions didn't come true, we still have a lot to be grateful for. Got any crazy predictions from the past you love? What were some of your favorite predictions from the past? Did you have any wild ideas about what the future would be like? It's always fun to look back and see how our imaginations ran wild with possibilities. Share your favorite predictions in the comments. We'd love to hear them. Drop them in the comments. Let's keep the conversation going. The future might not be exactly what we imagined, but it's still full of surprises and innovations. Who knows what the next few decades will bring? Maybe some of those wild predictions will come true after all. And who knows, maybe our 2024 dreams will come true in 2034. Thanks for watching. The future is always full of possibilities, and while we might not have everything we dreamed of yet, there's always hope for tomorrow. Thanks for joining us on this trip down memory lane. Keep dreaming big, and who knows, maybe our 2024 dreams will come true in 2034. Thanks for watching.